In the world of reality TV, few shows stir up as much drama, passion, and heartbreak as TLC's 90-Day Fiancé. But what happens when the cameras stop rolling and the secrets come spilling out? Today's story is truly heartbreaking. Recently, Jasmine Pineda insulted GINO Palazzolo's mother and even slapped her before kicking her out of the house. Yes, you heard that right. Let's start from the beginning. Jasmine Pineda announced that she is pregnant, but the father is not GINO Palazzolo. It is Matt. Matt is Jasmine Pineda's secret boyfriend. For the past 5 months, Jasmine had been secretly involved in a deep romantic relationship with Matt. Jasmine Pineda clearly told GINO Palazzolo, "I will not stay with you. I am carrying Matt's child, and I will marry only him." To handle the situation, GINO Palazzolo's mother personally went to Jasmine to try to convince her not to leave her son. However, Jasmine became angry, behaved rudely with GINO's mother, slapped her, and threw her out of the house in humiliation. Hearing this, GINO Palazzolo was completely devastated. He could not have imagined such betrayal. Later, GINO Palazzolo filed a lawsuit against Jasmine Pineda, accusing her of betrayal, financial fraud, and insulting his mother. GINO claimed that since Jasmine conceived Matt's child while still married to him, he would legally be considered the father of that child. He also claimed that Jasmine had embezzled $60,000 from him. But when GINO demanded his money back, Jasmine denied it completely, saying she never took any money. GINO's claims were proven true in court. Based on the evidence and witness testimony, the court declared that Jasmine Pineda had indeed broken the law, embezzled $60,000, and insulted GINO's mother. According to the verdict, Jasmine Pineda was sentenced to 5 months in prison. From the outside, Jasmine Pineda and GINO Palazzolo were the quintessential 90-day fiancé couple. She was the fiery, passionate Panamanian beauty. He was the quirky, hat-wearing American with a heart full of hope. Their love story, broadcast to millions, was filled with laughter, misunderstandings, and tearful reconciliations. Fans rooted for them, even when things got messy. They met online, like many couples on the show, and their chemistry was undeniable. GINO flew to Panama, and despite cultural clashes and explosive arguments, he proposed. Jasmine said yes. The world watched as they navigated visa hurdles, jealousy issues, and family drama. But through it all, they seemed to survive, even thrive. Social media painted a picture of bliss. Instagram posts showed romantic dinners, beach getaways, and declarations of love. Jasmine often called GINO her Gringo King, and GINO, in turn, showered her with gifts and praise. But behind the filters and hashtags, something darker was brewing. Friends close to the couple noticed subtle shifts. Jasmine's smile seemed forced. GINO looked more anxious. And then, the rumors began. Whispers of Jasmine spending more time away from home, of secret phone calls, of a man named Matt. But no one could have predicted what would come next. At first, Jasmine and GINO seemed to be rebuilding their love. After surviving countless fights and on-camera drama, they looked stronger, at least on the surface. But when GINO returned to the US and Jasmine stayed in Panama waiting for her visa, the cracks began to show. Their daily calls turned distant. She stopped sending photos, dodged questions, and always seemed busy. Then came the money requests, thousands for medical bills and repairs. GINO, still in love, kept sending funds. Over $60,000 vanished in months. When he asked for proof, Jasmine snapped, "Don't you trust me?" But her social media told another story. Solo pictures, cryptic captions, and whispers of a new man. One night, GINO heard a deep male voice during their call. Jasmine claimed it was just a neighbor, but her shaking tone said otherwise. He started digging and found the name Matt, a charming fitness trainer often seen with her. Jasmine denied everything, but GINO knew the truth was slipping through her fingers. The romance that once survived reality TV was now collapsing in real life. Matt wasn't just a name whispered in passing. He was the man quietly reshaping Jasmine's world. While GINO clung to the hope that their relationship could survive the distance, Jasmine had already begun building something new, something secret, something dangerous. Matt was a local fitness trainer in Panama City. Tall, athletic, and charming. He had a reputation for being magnetic, the kind of man who could walk into a room and command attention without saying a word. He met Jasmine at a wellness event she attended with friends. Their first interaction was brief, but electric. Jasmine later described it to a close friend as a spark I hadn't felt in years. What started as casual conversations quickly escalated. Matt began visiting Jasmine's apartment under the guise of helping her with workouts. But neighbors noticed he wasn't leaving after an hour. Sometimes he stayed the night. Jasmine, once fiercely private, began to let her guard down around him. She laughed more. She dressed differently. She seemed alive. Their relationship was intense and fast-paced. Within weeks, Jasmine was confiding in Matt about her frustrations with GINO. The emotional distance, the cultural clashes, the constant arguments. Matt listened. He didn't judge. He offered her something GINO hadn't in months, emotional safety. But Jasmine knew the risks. She was still engaged to GINO. Their relationship was public. Fans followed her every move. And GINO, despite his quirks, had been financially supporting her. Ending things with him meant losing stability and possibly facing backlash from the show's producers and audience. So Jasmine kept Matt a secret. She created a second phone number. She stopped tagging her location on social media. She told GINO she was taking time for herself. Meanwhile, she and Matt were growing closer, emotionally and physically. They began talking about the future, about children, about marriage. Matt, unlike GINO, didn't ask for proof. He didn't question her motives. He simply believed her. And Jasmine, swept up in the fantasy, began to believe it too. But secrets have a shelf life. One evening, Jasmine and Matt were spotted together at a rooftop bar, holding hands, laughing, kissing. A fan of the show recognized her and snapped a photo. That image, blurry but unmistakable, began circulating in online forums. Speculation exploded. GINO saw the photo. He didn't confront Jasmine immediately. Instead, he waited. He watched. He gathered evidence. And when he finally asked her about Matt, she denied everything, again. But the truth was already out there, and it was only a matter of time before it shattered everything. Jasmine Pineda had always been a woman of passion, fiery, impulsive, and unapologetically intense. But with Matt, her emotions took on a new dimension. Their connection wasn't just physical. It was emotional, spiritual, and dangerously addictive. By the time Jasmine and Matt had been seeing each other for 2 months, their relationship had evolved into something far deeper than either of them had anticipated. Jasmine wasn't just cheating, she was falling in love, and that terrified her. She knew the risks. Her engagement to GINO wasn't just personal, it was public. Their story had been broadcast to millions. Fans had invested in their journey. Producers had contracts. Sponsors had expectations. But none of that mattered when she was with Matt. Matt made her feel seen. He didn't judge her for her past, her outbursts, or her insecurities. He listened. He laughed with her. He held her when she cried. And slowly, Jasmine began to imagine a future without GINO, a future where she could be free. But freedom came with a price. Jasmine started pulling away from GINO more aggressively. She stopped answering his calls. She delayed visa paperwork. She told him she needed space to think. GINO, confused and heartbroken, tried to hold on. He sent flowers. He wrote long emails. He begged her to talk. She didn't. Instead, Jasmine and Matt began spending entire weekends together. They traveled to nearby towns, stayed in boutique hotels, and took photos, always careful not to post them online. Jasmine created a private photo album on her phone, labeled N&M, Matt and Me. It was her secret world, and she guarded it fiercely. But secrets have a way of unraveling. One evening, Jasmine's phone buzzed with a message from Matt while she was on a video call with GINO. The notification flashed across the screen. "Can't wait to see you tonight, mes amours." GINO saw it. His face froze. Jasmine panicked and ended the call. GINO didn't confront her immediately. Instead, he began documenting everything: screenshots, bank transfers, call logs. He was preparing for something bigger, something legal. Meanwhile, Jasmine was reaching a breaking point. She couldn't live in two worlds anymore. The guilt was suffocating. The lies were piling up. And then, one morning, she woke up with nausea, dizziness, and fatigue. She took a pregnancy test. It was positive. Jasmine stared at the result, her hands trembling. She knew instantly. The baby wasn't GINO's, it was Matt's. And with that revelation, her double life collapsed. She had to make a choice, and she did. She picked Matt. Jasmine Pineda had kept her secret for weeks. The affair, the emotional shift, the growing distance from GINO. But nothing compared to the weight of the truth she now carried. She was pregnant, and the father wasn't GINO. It was Matt. The moment Jasmine saw the positive test, her world tilted. She sat alone in her bathroom, staring at the result, her mind racing. She knew this wasn't just a personal crisis. It was a public reckoning. Her relationship with GINO was still active, still visible, but her heart had already moved on. For days, Jasmine debated what to do. Should she lie? Should she pretend the child was GINO's? Should she disappear and let the truth surface later? But Jasmine wasn't built for silence. She was impulsive, emotional, and fiercely direct. And so, she made a decision that would change everything. She called GINO. The conversation started calmly. GINO, still hopeful, asked if she was feeling better. Jasmine paused, then said the words that would shatter him. "I'm pregnant, GINO. But it's not yours, it's Matt's." Silence. GINO didn't speak for nearly a minute. Jasmine could hear his breathing shift, from steady to panicked. Then came the questions. Who is Matt? How long has this been going on? Were you ever going to tell me? Jasmine answered each one with brutal honesty. She told him about the affair, the emotional connection, the nights spent together. She told him she was in love with Matt. And then, she delivered the final blow. "I will not stay with you. I am carrying Matt's child, and I will marry only him." GINO was devastated. He hung up without another word. Hours later, he sent a single message: "You've destroyed me." The news spread quickly. Jasmine didn't hide it. She posted a cryptic Instagram story, a photo of a baby onesie with the caption "New Beginnings." Fans speculated. Blogs picked up the story. And within days, the 90-day fiancé community was ablaze with rumors. GINO's family was crushed. His mother, who had always been skeptical of Jasmine, took it personally. She believed Jasmine had used her son, emotionally and financially, and she wasn't going to let it go. She booked a flight to Panama. Jasmine, meanwhile, was unapologetic. She told friends she was finally free. She and Matt began planning their future. A small wedding, a new apartment, a life away from cameras and controversy. But the storm was just beginning. Because GINO wasn't done. He was heartbroken, yes. But he was also angry, and he was about to take action that would turn Jasmine's confession into a full-blown legal war. GINO Palazzolo had always been a man of routine, quiet dinners, long emails, and the occasional romantic gesture. But nothing in his structured world had prepared him for the emotional earthquake Jasmine unleashed. After Jasmine's confession that she was pregnant with Matt's child and intended to marry him, GINO collapsed emotionally. He didn't eat for days. He stopped answering calls. His apartment, once meticulously clean, became a mess of unopened mail, empty taco boxes, and crumpled tissues. Friends tried to reach him, but he shut everyone out. He wasn't just heartbroken. He was humiliated. Their relationship had been public. Their love story had been celebrated. And now, he was the man left behind, betrayed, mocked, and discarded. The image of Jasmine with Matt haunted him. The sound of her voice saying, "I will not stay with you," echoed in his mind like a cruel chorus. But beneath the grief, something else was brewing: anger. GINO began replaying every moment of their relationship, the money transfers, the emotional manipulation, the lies. He realized Jasmine hadn't just broken his heart, she had used him, and that realization ignited something in him. He started documenting everything: bank statements, text messages, video call logs. He created a folder labeled evidence. He wasn't sure what he would do with it yet, but he knew he needed to protect himself. Jasmine had taken more than his love. She had taken his dignity, his finances, and his peace of mind. Then came the final straw. GINO's mother, devastated by the news, called him in tears. "She humiliated you," she said. "She humiliated our family." GINO, already fragile, broke down. His mother had always been skeptical of Jasmine, but she had tried to support their relationship for GINO's sake. Now, she felt betrayed too, and she wanted answers. Without telling GINO, she booked a flight to Panama. She wanted to speak to Jasmine face to face. She wanted to understand how things had gone so wrong. GINO begged her not to go, fearing confrontation. But she was determined. Meanwhile, GINO began researching legal options. He discovered that under certain laws, if a child is conceived during a marriage, the husband may be presumed the legal father, even if biologically he isn't. That detail stuck with him. It gave him leverage. It gave him a reason to fight. He wasn't going to let Jasmine walk away unscathed. GINO contacted a lawyer. He explained everything: the affair, the pregnancy, the financial transfers. The lawyer listened carefully and said, "You have a case. If you want to pursue this, we can build it." GINO nodded. The man who had once sent Jasmine roses was now preparing to send her subpoenas. GINO Palazzolo's mother, Maria, had watched her son spiral into heartbreak. She had seen the sleepless nights, the unanswered calls, the quiet sobs behind closed doors, and she had had enough. Maria was a proud woman, traditional, protective, and fiercely loyal to her family. She had never fully trusted Jasmine, sensing instability behind the glamour. But she had kept her distance, hoping her son's love would be enough to build something lasting. Now, with Jasmine pregnant by another man and publicly rejecting GINO, Maria felt betrayed, not just for her son, but for herself. She booked a flight to Panama. Maria didn't tell GINO until she landed. "I'm here," she texted. "I need to speak to her." GINO begged her to stay out of it. "Please, Mom, don't make it worse." But Maria was resolute. She believed Jasmine owed them an explanation, and she was going to get it. Jasmine was stunned when Maria showed up at her apartment unannounced. Dressed in a crisp blouse and carrying a folder of documents, Maria looked more like a lawyer than a grieving mother. Jasmine opened the door reluctantly, arms crossed, eyes wary. "What are you doing here?" Jasmine asked coldly. "I came to speak to you," Maria replied, woman to woman. Jasmine hesitated, then let her in. The conversation started civilly. Maria asked why Jasmine had betrayed GINO. She asked if the affair had been going on during their engagement. She asked if Jasmine had ever truly loved her son. Jasmine's answers were blunt. "I loved GINO once," she said, "but I don't anymore. I'm with Matt now. I'm pregnant, and I'm moving on." Maria's composure cracked. "You used him," she snapped. "You took his money, his love, his future. And now you throw him away like garbage?" Jasmine's tone shifted. "I don't owe you anything," she said. "GINO was weak. He clung to me like a child. I needed a man, not a shadow." Maria stood up, trembling with rage. "You're cruel," she said. "You've humiliated my son. You've humiliated me." And then, in a moment that would become infamous, Jasmine slapped Maria across the face. The sound echoed through the apartment. Maria gasped, stunned. Jasmine pointed to the door. "Get out," she said. "You don't belong here." Maria left, humiliated and shaken. She called GINO from the street, her voice trembling. "She hit me," she said. "She threw me out." GINO was silent. Then he whispered, "She's going to pay for this." That night, GINO added a new charge to his legal case: public humiliation and assault against his mother. The war had officially begun. The moment Jasmine Pineda slapped GINO's mother, Maria, everything changed. Until then, the scandal had been simmering, whispered among fans, speculated in online forums, and quietly unfolding behind closed doors. But that single act of physical aggression turned a private betrayal into a public eruption. Maria returned to her hotel in Panama, shaken and humiliated. Her cheek was red, her pride bruised. She called GINO immediately, her voice trembling. "She hit me," she said. "She threw me out like I was nothing." GINO was silent. Then he whispered, "She's going to pay for this." Within hours, Maria posted a cryptic message on Facebook. "Some women wear makeup to hide their cruelty. I wear scars to show the truth." The post went viral. Friends, family, and even casual viewers of 90 Day Fiance began commenting. "Is this about Jasmine? Did something happen? We need answers." GINO, still emotionally shattered, decided to speak out. He posted a statement on Instagram. "I've stayed silent out of respect, but silence is no longer an option. Jasmine betrayed me, lied to me, and assaulted my mother. I will be pursuing legal action." The internet exploded. Fan pages lit up with theories. Reddit threads dissected every detail. TikTok creators reenacted the slap. Jasmine, once a fan favorite for her fiery personality, was now being labeled as toxic, manipulative, and dangerous. The tide had turned. Jasmine, however, remained defiant. She posted a selfie with the caption, "I don't regret standing up for myself. No one gets to disrespect me, not even his mother." The comments were brutal. Thousands of fans unfollowed her. Sponsors began pulling back. TLC issued a vague statement. "We are aware of the situation and are reviewing it internally." Meanwhile, Matt tried to shield Jasmine from the backlash. He deleted his social media accounts and urged her to stay offline. But Jasmine wasn't ready to disappear. She believed she had done nothing wrong. "Maria came into my home uninvited," she told a friend. "She provoked me. I defended myself." But the damage was done. GINO's lawyer added assault and public humiliation to the growing list of charges. The legal case was no longer just about betrayal. It was about violence, fraud, and emotional abuse. GINO was building a case that could not be ignored, and Jasmine was losing control of the narrative. The slap had become a symbol, not just of a broken relationship, but of a woman unraveling under the weight of her own choices. What had started as a secret affair was now a full-blown media storm, and the courtroom was waiting. GINO Palazzolo had reached his breaking point. The betrayal, the pregnancy, the slap. It was all too much. What began as heartbreak had now hardened into resolve. GINO wasn't just grieving anymore. He was preparing for war. With his mother still reeling from the confrontation in Panama, GINO sat down with his attorney in Michigan. He laid out everything: the timeline of Jasmine's affair, the financial transfers totaling over $60,000, and the emotional toll it had taken on both him and his family. But what caught the lawyer's attention most was the timing of Jasmine's pregnancy. "She was still legally engaged to you when she conceived," the attorney noted. "Depending on jurisdiction, you could be presumed the legal father, even if biologically you're not." That detail changed everything. GINO's lawyer began building a multi-pronged case. The charges would include breach of promise and emotional distress, financial fraud and embezzlement, assault and public humiliation of a family member, paternity presumption and custody complications. GINO filed the lawsuit in both the US and Panama, leveraging international legal counsel to ensure Jasmine couldn't simply ignore the charges. The documents were served to Jasmine's apartment within days. Jasmine was stunned. She had expected backlash, maybe even public outrage, but not this. Not a full-blown legal assault. She called GINO in a fury. "You're suing me," she screamed. "After everything we've been through." GINO didn't yell. He didn't cry. He simply said, "You made your choices. Now I'm making mine." The lawsuit made headlines. Entertainment blogs, gossip sites, and even mainstream media picked up the story. 90 Day Fiancé star sues ex-fiancé over secret pregnancy and $60,000 fraud, read one headline. Fans were divided. Some supported GINO, calling him brave for standing up for himself. Others accused him of being vindictive. But GINO didn't care about public opinion anymore. He cared about justice. Jasmine, now visibly pregnant, hired her own legal team. She denied all allegations. Her lawyers claimed the money was gifted, not stolen. They argued that GINO had no legal claim over the child, and they insisted that Maria's visit had been uninvited and aggressive. The legal battle was set. Depositions were scheduled, witnesses were called, bank records were subpoenaed, and through it all, Jasmine and GINO avoided direct contact, communicating only through lawyers and court filings. Matt, caught in the middle, tried to stay out of the spotlight, but his name was now part of the case. He was listed as a co-respondent and potential father. His private life was about to be dragged into the public arena. The stage was set for a courtroom showdown, one that would expose every secret, every lie, and every dollar. As the legal battle between GINO Palazzolo and Jasmine Pineda intensified, one accusation stood out above the rest: the alleged embezzlement of $60,000. It wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about money, deception, and the question of whether Jasmine had used GINO for financial gain. GINO's legal team presented a detailed timeline of transactions. Over the course of 5 months, GINO had wired Jasmine a total of $60,000. The payments were labeled for various reasons: medical expenses, rent support, visa processing, and even emergency family needs. But when asked to provide receipts or documentation, Jasmine had none. In court, GINO testified with a calm but broken voice. "I gave her that money because I loved her," he said. "I believed we were building a life together. I never imagined she was using it to fund a relationship with another man." The courtroom was silent. Jasmine's defense argued that the money was gifted, not loaned. Her attorney claimed that GINO had never asked for repayment and that Jasmine had no legal obligation to return it. This was a romantic relationship, the lawyer said, not a business contract. But GINO's team had more than just bank statements. They presented text messages in which Jasmine had promised to pay him back once things settled. In one message, she wrote, "I know it's a lot, but I'll make it right. Just trust me." These messages, the prosecution argued, proved intent. Jasmine had accepted the money under the pretense of repayment. Then came the most damning evidence. A witness, a mutual acquaintance from Panama, testified that Jasmine had openly bragged about milking GINO for everything he's worth. The witness claimed Jasmine once said, "He's so desperate to keep me. He'll send whatever I ask for. I don't even have to try." Jasmine's face turned pale in court. Her lawyer objected, citing hearsay, but the damage was done. The judge allowed the testimony to remain on record, noting its relevance to character and intent. Public opinion shifted sharply. Fans who had once defended Jasmine now questioned her motives. Was she ever truly in love with GINO, or had she seen him as a financial stepping stone, a means to an end while she pursued a secret life with Matt? Jasmine, visibly pregnant and under pressure, refused to testify. Her legal team advised against it, fearing cross-examination would further damage her credibility. Instead, they doubled down on the narrative that GINO had given the money freely and was now weaponizing it out of spite. But the court wasn't convinced. The judge announced that a verdict on the financial fraud charges would be delivered in the next hearing. And if found guilty, Jasmine could face not just restitution, but jail time. The stakes had never been higher. Fans, reporters, and legal observers filled every seat, eager to witness the climax of one of the most scandalous cases in 90-Day Fiance history. Jasmine Pineda, once a beloved reality TV star, now sat at the defendant's table, visibly pregnant, flanked by her legal team, her expression unreadable. Across from her, GINO Palazzolo sat with quiet intensity. He looked thinner, older, but resolute. This wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. It was about justice. The trial opened with the financial fraud allegations. GINO's attorney presented a meticulous breakdown of the $60,000 Jasmine had received: wire transfers, PayPal receipts, and text messages promising repayment. The prosecution argued that Jasmine had manipulated GINO emotionally to extract money under false pretenses. Jasmine's defense countered that the funds were gifts, voluntary, unconditional, and given during a romantic relationship. There was no contract, her lawyer said. No written agreement, just love. But the prosecution had more. They called a witness, a former friend of Jasmine, who testified that Jasmine had confided in her about using GINO's money to build a new life with Matt. The friend claimed Jasmine had laughed about GINO's desperation, saying, "He'll pay for anything if I cry hard enough." Gasps echoed through the courtroom. Then came the assault charge. Maria, GINO's mother, took the stand. Her voice trembled as she recounted the confrontation in Panama. The insults, the slap, the humiliation. "I went there to speak with her," Maria said. "She hit me. She threw me out. I've never felt so disrespected." Jasmine's lawyer tried to paint Maria as aggressive, suggesting she provoked the incident. But the judge wasn't swayed. Regardless of provocation, he said, physical violence is unacceptable. Finally, the issue of paternity was addressed. GINO's lawyer argued that under Panamanian law, a child conceived during an active engagement could legally be presumed to have ties to the fiancé, especially if financial support was involved. Jasmine's team fought back, insisting Matt was the biological father and that GINO had no parental claim. The judge reviewed the evidence for hours. Then, in a tense and silent courtroom, he delivered the verdict. Jasmine Pineda was found guilty of financial fraud, defamation, and assault. The court ruled that she had knowingly deceived GINO for monetary gain, publicly humiliated his mother, and violated civil conduct. She was sentenced to 5 months in prison, ordered to repay the $60,000, and barred from contacting GINO or Maria directly. Jasmine sat frozen. Matt, who had attended quietly in the back, rushed to her side, but the damage was done. The cameras flashed, the headlines wrote themselves, and the reality TV world watched as one of its brightest stars fell from grace. The courtroom had fallen silent after the verdict. Jasmine Pineda, once a vibrant and controversial star of 90 Day Fiancé, was now a convicted felon, sentenced to 5 months in prison for financial fraud, defamation, and assault. She was escorted out of the courthouse in handcuffs, her head held high, but her eyes betraying the storm within. The media frenzy was immediate. Photos of Jasmine in custody flooded social media. News outlets ran headlines like, "From reality star to inmate, Jasmine Pineda's fall from grace." Fans were divided. Some expressed sympathy, citing her emotional turmoil and pregnancy. Others saw justice served, calling her manipulative and cruel. Jasmine was taken to a women's correctional facility in Panama City. The prison was modest but strict, a far cry from the luxury apartments and boutique cafes she had grown accustomed to. Her celebrity status earned her no favors. In fact, it made her a target. In her first week, Jasmine was placed in a shared cell with 2 other inmates. She was given basic clothing, limited toiletries, and a strict schedule. Wake up at 6 a.m., chores by 7, meals at designated times, and lights out by 9. The adjustment was brutal. She struggled with isolation. Matt, though supportive, was only allowed limited visitation. He came once a week, bringing books, letters, and quiet reassurances. But even he couldn't shield her from the reality of incarceration. Jasmine's pregnancy made things more complicated. She required medical checkups, prenatal vitamins, and emotional support, all of which were provided, but without warmth. The guards treated her like any other inmate. The other prisoners were curious, some even hostile. "You're that TV girl, right?" one asked. "The one who slapped her fiancé's mom?" Jasmine didn't respond. She kept to herself, reading, journaling, and counting the days. Meanwhile, outside the prison walls, her life was unraveling. Her social media accounts were deactivated, sponsorships were terminated. TLC issued a statement distancing itself from the scandal. "We do not condone illegal behavior and are reviewing Jasmine Pineda's future involvement with the franchise." GINO, for his part, remained silent. He had won the case, but the emotional scars lingered. He declined interviews, avoided public appearances, and focused on rebuilding his life. Maria, still shaken, returned to Michigan and refused to speak about the incident. Jasmine's 5-month sentence felt longer than it was. Each day chipped away at her pride, her image, and her sense of control. She wasn't just serving time. She was confronting the consequences of every choice she had made. And when she finally walked out of prison, the world she returned to would be very different. Jasmine Pineda had always been known for her fiery personality, bold fashion, and unapologetic attitude. But none of that mattered anymore. The moment she stepped into the women's correctional facility in Panama City, she wasn't a reality star. She was inmate #4573. Her 5-month sentence had begun. The prison was stark and unforgiving. Concrete walls, steel bars, and fluorescent lights replaced the vibrant life Jasmine once flaunted on social media. Her cell was small, shared with 2 other women, and furnished with only the basics: a bunk bed, a metal toilet, and a shelf for personal items. Privacy was non-existent. Jasmine's pregnancy complicated everything. She was assigned to a medical unit for regular checkups, but the care was minimal. Prenatal vitamins were rationed, and appointments were rushed. The guards treated her with indifference. Some inmates mocked her. "So this is the famous Jasmine?" One sneered. "Thought you'd be in a mansion, not a cell." Jasmine kept her head down. She spent her days reading, journaling, and staring out the narrow window above her bunk. She refused to speak to reporters. She declined interviews. Her only visitor was Matt, who came once a week, bringing letters and quiet reassurances. But even he seemed changed, more cautious, more distant. Outside the prison, Jasmine's world was crumbling. Her social media accounts were deactivated. TLC removed her profile from promotional materials. Sponsorships vanished. Fan pages turned against her. The woman who once commanded attention with every post was now a cautionary tale. GINO, meanwhile, remained silent. He had won the case, but he didn't celebrate. He focused on healing, attending therapy, reconnecting with friends, and rebuilding his life. Maria, still shaken by the slap, refused to speak publicly. The Palazzolo family had closed the chapter, but the scars remained. Jasmine's time behind bars was a reckoning. She reflected on her choices: the affair, the lies, the slap, the courtroom drama. She wrote letters she never sent. She cried silently at night. And as her belly grew, so did her fear. What kind of world would her child be born into? Would Matt stay? Would she ever escape the shadow of her past? In her final month, Jasmine began attending group therapy sessions. She spoke little, but listened intently. She heard stories of regret, resilience, and redemption. Slowly, she began to understand that her downfall wasn't just about betrayal. It was about identity, accountability, and the cost of fame. When the day of her release finally arrived, Jasmine walked out of the prison gates with no cameras, no applause, and no entourage. Just Matt, waiting quietly, and a future that was uncertain. She had served her time. But the real sentence, rebuilding her life, was only beginning. GINO Palazzolo had spent months in emotional ruin, betrayed, humiliated, and dragged through a public legal battle that exposed every intimate detail of his relationship. But after Jasmine's sentencing and her departure to prison, something shifted inside him. He was free. Not just legally, but emotionally. For the first time in years, GINO wasn't chasing love, defending himself, or trying to fix something broken. He was alone, and it was peaceful. GINO began rebuilding his life slowly. He moved into a new apartment in Michigan, one without memories of Jasmine. He changed his phone number, deleted old photos, and started therapy. His therapist encouraged him to explore his identity beyond the show, beyond the heartbreak. He did. GINO enrolled in a photography course, something he'd always wanted to do but never had time for. He started hiking, journaling, and reconnecting with old friends. He even adopted a dog, a golden retriever named Mino, who became his loyal companion. Social media noticed. GINO's Instagram, once flooded with couple photos and emotional captions, now featured nature shots, dog selfies, and motivational quotes. Fans rallied behind him. "We're proud of you, GINO." One comment read, "You deserve peace." But healing wasn't linear. GINO still had nightmares, flashes of Jasmine's confession, the courtroom, his mother's tearful testimony. He struggled with trust. He avoided dating. He feared being used again. But each day, he grew stronger. Then came the twist. One afternoon, GINO received a letter. It was handwritten, postmarked from Panama, and signed simply, J. It was from Jasmine. Inside, she apologized. Not for the affair, not for the slap, but for the pain she caused. "I was lost," she wrote. "I confused love with control. I confused survival with manipulation. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed you to know I'm trying to change." GINO stared at the letter for hours. He didn't respond. He didn't share it online. He simply folded it, placed it in a drawer, and went for a walk with Milo. That night, he slept peacefully. The letter didn't undo the past. It didn't erase the betrayal, but it marked something new. Closure. GINO wasn't the man he was a year ago. He wasn't the desperate fiancé or the broken plaintiff. He was healing. He was growing. And for the first time, he was living for himself. As Jasmine prepared for motherhood and Matt stood by her side, GINO quietly stepped into a new chapter, one defined not by scandal, but by strength. Jasmine Pineda stepped out of the women's correctional facility with a small duffel bag, a swollen belly, and a heart full of uncertainty. The world she had left behind was gone, replaced by headlines, judgment, and silence. But waiting outside the gates was Matt, arms crossed, eyes soft. He hadn't abandoned her. Throughout her sentence, Matt had visited faithfully, sent letters, and defended her against public backlash. But even he couldn't ignore the damage. Jasmine's reputation was in ruins. Her career in reality television was over, and the child they were about to welcome would be born into a storm of controversy. They moved into a modest apartment on the outskirts of Panama City. Jasmine kept a low profile. No social media, no interviews, no appearances. She focused on prenatal care, therapy, and rebuilding trust with Matt. Their relationship, once fueled by secrecy and passion, now demanded honesty and patience. Then, in early October, Jasmine gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Mateo, a quiet nod to Matt, and a symbol of new beginnings. Jasmine held him in her arms and wept, not just from joy, but from guilt, relief, and hope. She promised herself she would be different. She would be better. She would be the mother Mateo deserved. Meanwhile, GINO Palazzolo continued his quiet life in Michigan. He never responded to Jasmine's letter. He never spoke publicly about the trial again. But he did release a short video on his YouTube channel titled Healing. In it, he spoke about resilience, boundaries, and the importance of self-worth. He didn't mention Jasmine by name, but the message was clear. Fans speculated about a possible return to the 90-Day Fiancé franchise. Would GINO be cast in a spin-off? Would Jasmine attempt a redemption arc? TLC remained silent. Insiders claimed producers were monitoring public sentiment, but nothing was confirmed. One thing was certain: the scandal had changed everything. Jasmine was no longer the fiery starlet with dramatic confessionals. She was a mother, a former inmate, and a woman trying to rebuild. GINO was no longer the awkward fiancé chasing love. He was a survivor, a creator, and a man who had reclaimed his narrative. And Matt, the man at the center of it all, remained a mystery. He declined interviews. He refused offers from tabloids. He simply stood by Jasmine, quietly, as the world watched and judged. The story of Jasmine, GINO, and Matt wasn't just a reality TV scandal. It was a cautionary tale about love, betrayal, fame, and the cost of choices made in the spotlight. As the credits roll on this chapter, one question remains. Will Jasmine ever find redemption, or has her final episode already aired? 90-Day Fiancé. Jasmine Pineda introduces Matt to her mom, but his awkward replies leave them embarrassed. Jasmine Pineda wants to get her implants removed after she finishes baby Matilda, and Jasmine Pineda breaks silence on claims Matt Brainis isn't bonding with their baby. Gino Palazzolo calls Jasmine Pineda a liar and exposes real reason she was fired from old teaching job. I will explain everything. Actress Jasmine Pineda, star of 90 Day Fiancé, mustered up the nerve to tell her mom the truth. However, when she revealed that she was expecting Matt's kid, the vulnerable moment quickly devolved into an uncomfortable one. The TLC actress acknowledged that it was embarrassing for her to explain the complexities of her relationship to her mother, Cecilia. The latter was taken by surprise by Jasmine's roller coaster of personal drama. In only a few short weeks, she will welcome a daughter into the world on Happily Ever After. This is how the Panamanian met Cecilia and Matt. She then revealed their open marital arrangement. In the end, Jasmine had to deal with the uncomfortable questions her admirers had been saving for far too long. Her mom and her were taken aback by Matt's surprising answers. Did Matt say anything? What was her mother's reaction? Gym goer Matt Brainis and 90 Day Fiancé star Jasmine Pineda reportedly met there. Having consented to offer her closeness, she introduced him as her workout companion. The native of Panama quickly pushed Gino out of her life and became pregnant with Matt's child. When Jasmine's baby daddy proposed, she and her future husband packed up and headed to Florida to begin a new chapter in their lives. On the show, she is going to present her baby girl. Reality TV star, though, is worried about the future. In the most recent episode, Jasmine noticed that Matt was driving a brand new truck. She came forward and said, "I'm scared because I don't know Matt. Living, sleeping, and sharing a bed with him are the only things the TLC star knows about him." An issue that Jasmine brought up was her partner's propensity for making foolish choices. Unveiling long-hidden secrets from her mom, Jasmine Pineda is finally opening up. Up until recently, she said, she spoke to her mom, Cecilia, nearly every week. Over a video call, the Panamanian spoke with the other. "In a really complicated situation in my life," Pineda told Mommy, "I should have told you the truth." She went on to say that this whole ordeal with Gino has been going on for about a year. The star of 90 Day Fiancé was too ashamed to admit that she had suggested the notion of an open marriage. Concerned that Jasmine hadn't sought a divorce, Cecilia questioned why. However, the second person believed she was merely attempting to hold on to her marriage. Her story of meeting Matt at the gym and being pregnant with his baby was revealed. The wife of a Panamanian national introduced her mother to her boyfriend. Inquiring about Matt's plans to date her, Cecilia wanted to know more. The fact that Brainis had no ill will toward her daughter was made quite obvious. Without hesitation, he offered to look after her and shoulder all of the burdens. "'Twas a mistake on the part of the Romanian native to confess that he was single and looking for a fun way to spend his marriage." It was clear that Matt's description had upset Jasmine. She felt let down by him for making her look foolish in front of her mother. Because she had betrayed her mom's confidence, the TLC star started to cry. Watching Jasmine's expression of indirect shame was a favorite among fans. On the other hand, they felt terrible for her mom because of all this. Jasmine Pineda wants to get her implants removed after she finishes baby Matilda. Jasmine Pineda, star of 90 Day Fiancé, has probably weaned her daughter Matilda. Her postpartum experience has left her feeling prepared to make some big adjustments in her life. While chatting with her admirers, the Panamanian native dropped hints about her upcoming operation. Pineda is prepared to undergo reduction surgery once again. She intends to show the world her natural beauty by getting her implants taken out. Thousands of dollars were spent by the reality TV personality on augmentation surgery in 2016. Pineda underwent surgery due to her depression and underweight. After her ex-husband did on her, she decided to have a makeover as a form of retribution. It appears that the reality TV stars are plotting yet another makeover to exact revenge following her split from Gino. Could this be the start of something fresh? Tell me what she said. Happily Ever After is recording Jasmine's pregnancy journey, who is known for her work on 90 Day Fiancé. When she found out she was going to have a daughter, She was over the moon. In anticipation of meeting her new baby, the reality TV star had been keeping track of the days. In the most current trailer, Jasmine's positive experience was highlighted by TLC. An exclusive video of her giving birth to her daughter was shared by ET. Sitting in the tub, the Panamanian woman was seen cradling her newborn baby. The sight of her kid, Pineda said, "Just seeing her on my chest." Because of this, she compared her daughter to an angel. Holding his child in his arms, Matt also appeared elated. He couldn't help but notice that the baby shared his blue eyes. The reality TV star named his daughter Matilda when she was presented. Being a mother is an incredible new experience for Jasmine Pineda. Sharing her experiences and insights, she has been an inspiration to other women on their journeys. This is how the TLC celebrity felt about weaning her baby off of milk. A video of Jasmine's latest cosmetic treatment was recently uploaded on social media. An ultra-clear laser treatment was captured on video. The reality TV star was relieved to have some downtime to concentrate on her own needs. Some concerned fans, meanwhile, wanted to know if the surgery could be safely performed while the mother was nursing. Her baby child is still being fed by Jasmine. Since she refrained from applying numbing lotion, she assured everyone that her makeover was completely risk-free. The 90-day Fiance star shocked fans when she decided not to use a numbing cream during the excruciating procedure. The fact that Jasmine has implants was another target of criticism. Her admirers, however, rallied swiftly to her defense. "Ah, plastic or natural? It's amazing seeing you glow with happiness that you're being treated properly and with respect," commentated one admirer. As a result, Pineda felt a sense of relief, knowing that her supporters were rooting for her. Her future ambitions for a makeover were also hinted at. "I will remove all my implants after I finish Matilda," she said. A lot of people want the TLC actress to stop getting implants and start loving herself just the way she is. Their opinion is that her natural would make her seem stunning. Have you any thoughts on the matter? Leave a comment below with your comments. Jasmine Pineda breaks silence on claims Matt Brainis isn't bonding with their baby. The accusations that Matt Brainis is emotionally distant from their daughter, Matilda, have been addressed by Jasmine Pineda of 90 Days, The Last Resort. Her original motivation for migrating to America was to wed GINO Palazzolo. Unfortunately, they weren't enough, which caused problems in their marriage. During their season 2 appearance on 90 Day, The Last Resort, Jasmine brought up the concept of an open marriage. The request to have Matt as Jasmine's partner was granted by GINO, but with some hesitation. Matt and Jasmine's daughter were introduced into the world in March 2025, after Jasmine unexpectedly fell pregnant. To Jasmine, Matt is only her best friend. The two aren't romantically linked, she says. Still, she regularly includes Matt in her social media posts. Matt seems emotionally distant from their 2-month-old daughter Jasmine in several of her recent images, which many have observed. "How come we never see Matt holding the baby and sitting far away?" a TikToker wrote, posing the question directly to Jasmine. Jasmine responded by sharing a video that demonstrated Matt's active involvement in taking care of their daughter, demonstrating that he is not emotionally distant. Matt held baby Matilda in a number of the images that made up the video montage. There was an unusual beginning to the relationship between Jasmine and Matt. GINO was still Jasmine's husband when she began and with Matt. This led many of their admirers to doubt if their romance would last. Many even went so far as to say that Matt's relationship with Jasmine was an act designed to get him some attention. In spite of the fact that fans have an unfavorable impression of Matt, Jasmine is adamant about defending his character. She is eager to shield her baby daddy's good name by showing that he is doing a good job taking care of their child. She says she will not take criticism lying down by posting photos of Matt and their baby. As a reality TV cast member since 2021, Jasmine knows all too well how fast toxic stories can spread online. She is so proactively defending her baby's paternity in an effort to quell any speculation. Jasmine would also like her admirers to know that she and Matt are still sharing parenting responsibilities, and that their bond as a couple is very strong. Jasmine intends to demonstrate to 90-day fiancé viewers that Matt is a doting father by sharing photos of the two of them with Matilda, even if they aren't romantically involved. In the past 6 months, Jasmine has encountered numerous misconceptions, one of which being the idea that Matt is being treated like a. Her goal is to shield Matt from any possible criticism because she is sick of these unfounded notions. The birth of her daughter has left Jasmine emotionally exposed. To protect Matt's reputation as a father, she is concerned that rumors without foundation might spread. This former cast member of 90 Day, The Last Resort, is pleading with viewers to understand that she did not marry an immature man, but rather a responsible and loving man. Gino Palazzolo calls Jasmine Pineda a liar and exposes real reason she was fired from old teaching job. Axel Palazzolo, star of 90 Day, The Last Resort, spills the beans on why Jasmine Pineda's teaching position was dismantled. When Gino and Jasmine first connected on the dating site, Gino promised Jasmine an extravagant lifestyle. A fast lesson for Jasmine, nevertheless, proved that this wasn't so. When it came to Jasmine's demands and desires, Gino froze. Even so, they tied the knot nevertheless, which just set the stage for future explosive arguments. Some of these issues include their long-lasting and much publicized absence of. So far, the couple's efforts to mend their marriage in Season 2 of The Last Resort have not been without their share of complications. They still haven't worked out their differences regarding their infighting. It wasn't long before rumors began circulating that Jasmine was expecting a child with her best friend, Matt Brainess. Lots of turmoil has recently unfolded over Jasmine's professional life, both in the past and present. A publicist fired Jasmine, and Gino showed there to explain why she was sacked from her teaching job. A 90-day Therialititmus, a fiancé blogger, shared a screenshot of Gino's comment on Jasmine's livestream. While promoting the franchise, Jasmine brought up her background as an English teacher. Nevertheless, she claimed that the proliferation of unauthorized images of her led to her dismissal. Since this was the case, Jasmine's dependence on Gino's financial assistance in Panama became clearer. But Gino says Jasmine was laid off because of a personality conflict with her supervisor. Opinions on this revelation are divided. As for Gino's motives for caring or asserting that he is lying, several of his admirers remain perplexed. According to Kivia_Thatson, that must be his fake account. Yet most people agree with Gino that Jasmine is being dishonest. That was rather clear because she never looked for work after that. Explains when asked about Jasmine's employment status, Gino establishes a transparent difference between firing and layoff. The story goes that Gino was there with her when she got the layoff signal. After all, Jasmine may always look for another teaching position if he is being truthful. Nonetheless, her notorious reality TV presence may have made it more challenging for her. More recently, she has been more successful as an internet influencer for a number of different firms. She probably won't have to start applying for teaching jobs anytime soon. Why Gino chose to announce this at this particular moment is really perplexing. There has been a great deal of tension between Jasmine and her publicist. A webcast even captured her sobbing not long ago. The idea for Gino to refute one of Jasmine's assertions came completely out of the field. Gino may have taken note of the smear campaign that Jasmine had launched against him, which could explain this. Someone once accused him of being a narcissist, and he has been publishing mysterious tales about it. He might be attempting to defend himself on the internet now. It's difficult to determine who, exactly, is speaking the truth. To get more attention though, Jasmine has been caught spreading tales about herself. Consequently, this is beneficial to her marketing strategies. By bearing this in mind, Gino's credibility is enhanced slightly. No more today. What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.